There once was a little girl, and she grew up in a small little town, and she had two really big, strong families, and they provided a lot of love and care and support for that little girl. But one day when that little girl came home, she found out that her mom and dad were not going to stay together anymore. And when her mom left with the children, the three girls, she then became someone who was housing insecure. Immediately, she no longer had the funding that she needed to take care of her family. But she did everything she could. She worked all day and all evening, and those children never went without. She actually provided a great family environment for them, even without the little girl even knowing all the sacrifices that mother had to make. Later on, that mother went through some things with a new marriage that little girl had to experience as well. Girl had to watch her mother get beaten. That little girl also had to watch her mother go through some very other traumatizing things. That girl also had to watch her older sister go through 20 years of domestic violence. But that little girl continued to strive and hope, and she just continued to be really strong and become a defender. That doesn't always happen to little girls like that. Sometimes they get stuck. Sometimes they become broken. Sometimes they can't fix themselves. But that little girl, she picked herself up, and she ended up doing some things that became extremely powerful for this country that we have. That little girl's me. And that really is why I'm here today with all of you, because I'm here because I feel like there are a lot of people who have been through so many different things, and some can rise above it and some get stuck. And I want to be there in a way to help them. I want to go through a little bit with you about what we're doing at Cause San Diego, because we care about all the causes that are occurring here in the region and around the world. We care about that little girl and the thing that she went through, and all the organizations that could have been in that kind of mindset for that mother and for those families. Even though I know when I was a kid, I don't remember any of these organizations being around to help us. So they're needed more than ever. A lot of them don't get funded the way they should, and we're at Cause here to empower and bringing business to the table, which, by the way, in the corporate giving sector of about 6 to 7% of the overall giving for nonprofits is corporations. So only 6 to 7% of the overall pie of giving. There's so much opportunity there, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how the giving can happen, and it's not all financial. People think it's all about, they're just asking for more money, but honestly, a lot of it, if you look at the majority of our 14+ thousand nonprofits in the San Diego region, most of them that are working day to day are all doing it pro bono. They're volunteers. The majority of them. We only have 3,000 to 4,000 that actually have funded staff, and guess what? Cause is one of the ones that's not funded. We have unfunded staff working day to day to do the work we do. So San Diego is a place that we all share, but not all in the same way. As we see in this picture, we've got the wonderful family that's up front having their dinner and their afternoon lunch in their home. At the bottom left, we have a huge home that's probably sitting off the shores of La Jolla. In the top right picture, we have at the exact same time thousands, almost 10,000 people living unhoused on the streets in San Diego. We have 3.8 million people living here in this region, and over 10,000 of them are unhoused every single day. And in the bottom right, which hits my heart home, it hits home because I have both a 6-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old granddaughter. That's a whole story for another talk. But I see a mother who's living in her car brushing her daughter's hair, and that breaks my heart because that should not happen in one of the richest, most wealthiest cities in America. We are a huge city, we have strength, we have power, and unfortunately, you know what? Money isn't always the answer for us to make these changes. They need all of us, every single one of us. That's me retiring from the U.S. Marine Corps in 2017 after 24 years of service. Yes, after all of that happened to me, I served and defended as many people as possible, and that's why I'm still here today, because we need people who are fighters and want to defend. They need all of us to care. We need to care. I hope all of you care about that woman. Doesn't matter her gender, her age, her ethnicity. That is a human being, and she deserves dignity, and so does that little girl that's there. We do hold the power to improve our region, and it all starts, like Michael Jackson said, with the man in the mirror. Each one of us can do it. So how did I do it? How did I end up here? I want to tell that because I think it leads into the next part of what I'm going to talk about. So when I started serving in the military, there were opportunities for me to volunteer. I'm a Christian, so I started volunteering at my church, volunteering to teach religious education. I had a little girl. I became a single parent pretty young after joining the military, so I would go and do all of the extracurriculars that could happen with the military families. And believe me, if you want to talk about a group of people that are isolated and not feeling themselves often, go and spend time with military families. Every time their husbands or their wives deploy, they become single parents, and we become family with each other. So I gave that way. And then beyond that, once I served a little bit longer and got further up in my leadership, then I was asked to be in positions where I could actually mentor junior Marines like that I had been mentored as someone who was junior. And then when I left the service, I was asked if I would join a nonprofit board of directors. And I started to serve as a volunteer and then as a board member. And it just went on and on from there. So I'm going to talk about one of those experiences with a board I served on. And I'm doing this as a way to inspire all of you to know that there's so many nonprofits that need good people to serve on boards. And obviously, the bigger picture is how do we get businesses to lean into this, get their employees to serve on boards or to have volunteerism. We'll talk about that. So I really do think one of the powerful things that we can do is that the true strength of the wolf is the pack. And what I mean by that is that we're looking here at Homemade San Diego. I've been serving on their board of directors since 2018. I retired in 2017. Homemade San Diego partnered with an organization called Lennar. You might have known, you might be living in one of their homes. Lennar Foundation seeded us money to develop a workforce development program and a job placement support program. We could not just do it alone. Lennar has become a strategic cause partner for us. With Lennar, we have Avalon Bay Community Services, we have Terry, we have Computers to Kids, we have City of San Diego, Promises to Kids, Lucky Duck Foundation, US Bank, Homestart, all of these organizations, and Gensler. That's just to name a few. It takes a community to do that. And that's why we're here to teach businesses how they can do just this. It's not just about doing the walk. It's about them learning about what it's like to live homeless on the streets of San Diego. And then we also educate them about bringing all the homeless service providers in for free to share about what they do. So now Avalon Bay Communities, who's our $20-some thousand sponsor, they bring 20-some of their employees and their families. We are making change. We're opening people's eyes. But none of what we're doing can happen with Homemade in isolation. Most of you out there in the audience probably have 10, 20, 30 partners that you're working with, and we're here to try to bring as many as possible to support your nonprofit organizations, as well as bringing government and academia in to do so. Now let's talk about the program. This is a picture. Our very first class that graduated, we just hit our third year. We've graduated 120 students. Most of these students are either living in cars, they're living in shelter, they're living at Urban Street Angels, they're living some kind of subsidized housing. A lot of them are former foster youth, formerly incarcerated, those that have aged out of the foster care system. And they are having big struggles, very big struggles. I'm not sure if you know it, but the foster care system has one of the highest rates of people falling into homelessness because they don't have a support network for them. And so this program is possible because of all of those others that I just showed you. They all came together, they come through our program, they graduate. Lennar hired some. Lennar brought 40-some trade partners to the table that helped them to build their neighborhoods and homes. And from there, we were able to get these students into jobs. We've seen them move out of homelessness into housing. We've seen them get their first car. We've seen them get their, have all these milestones in their life that otherwise they would not have had if they did not have this collective of group that was helping them. But I will tell you, there are tons of persistent and really, really, really hard challenges that are out there because of the complexity of our world, but also because we are so distracted. We are so distracted. And it is a almost call for us to wake up and understand that in order to make changes in this world, we've got to not be so distracted by the laptops and the phones and everything else going on, really focus in. An area that hits home close to me lately has been about the digital world. I'm not sure if you all realize, but those phones and those tablets and things like that our children have access to are extremely, extremely powerful, educational, but also very dangerous. Very dangerous. And this image that we're showing here, this was put on by a state kind of public service announcement, and it says here, meet Susan, a 42-year-old man posing as a 15-year-old girl online. Susan and your 13-year-old just made plans to meet at the park. This is happening in mass realms. There are people who are losing their children, their teenagers, because of it. So these are some of the challenges. I was just bringing that one up that's happening for us. Also, like I mentioned, homelessness here in the area is huge. We also have a very large population of people who are at or below poverty level. Job unemployment continues to rise. And so these are all issues and challenges that cannot be resolved, those people who are being impacted on their own. We need all of you all to be able to help them. Substance abuse, mental health, those obviously are really big factors that roll into why individuals either homeless or while they drop into homelessness, they fall into these issues because of the despair and how horrible it is for them to be in those situations. So how do we get to turn this around? For cause, we think awareness building, meaning to the whole community, collaboration, creativity, and inspiration are key. The way that we do that is that we actually do workshops, we do mixers, we do referrals. Once a year conference we just had on October 9th of 2025 where we brought together 400 business, nonprofit, government, and academic professionals. You can see the list of all the different brands that were there supporting this across all sectors. We highlight college students who are going to college in San Diego County. We give out scholarships for them. We also highlight this year 13 business, nonprofit, government, or academic professionals and organizations. You got to tell them they're doing well so that they'll continue, but also when you show what they're doing, hopefully it sets a tone for others to see that they can do well too. I think this is why we really need to think about business and nonprofit partnerships. It helps to build the trust beyond the transaction, right? So if you're just having a business and you're just selling a product or service and people come in and out and do that, that's great when things are good. But when things go down and bad things happen to your organization, there's nothing for them to see other than that you're just there to take their money. Also, I will tell you big time, Gen Z is demanding it. They are making big changes, and not just them. A lot of consumers are making choices in the way that they want to make purchases and have relationships with organizations. So that's a big part of it. Humanizing your brand. What is your brand about? Is it just about a product or service, or could you possibly have some purpose tied into it? You could have a brand that just doesn't really seem, it might be something like, let's say the U.S. Postal Service, for instance. Love the post office, love getting my mail, but it's not one of those sexy brands, right? It's not like you're doing you're doing something that people directly relate to, helping individuals and things like that. But the U.S. Postal Service, they partner with nonprofit organizations and they help to boost their reputation and credibility, or at the same time helping the society of which that they serve. And then one of the last ones that I'll bring up here is that we can lift all ships by partnering together. We can lift all ships by doing that. And I just have example after example. If you want to know later, I wanted to share that we have a whole playbook that we give out at our conference. And this playbook actually has a list of the ways that companies can lean into financial and non-financial giving opportunities to help people in their communities and to be involved. And I can tell you what, it isn't just for the show, it's your employees are going to feel it, and they're really going to potentially, that might be the reason why they even join your company. We have a company called TCW Global. They're here in San Diego. They're a contingency workforce company. They're one of our biggest sponsors. That CEO has over 100 nonprofits that they support throughout the year. They really do lean into it. But I talked to the CEO, Sam Mercouli. I know him personally. And for him, it isn't an either or. It's an and. Because he uses it. He has one of the highest retention rates in San Diego County with his company because of it. He also gets voted as like the best place to work in San Diego quite often. Sometimes I get their emails and I'm like, are y'all doing any work over there? Because I swear, I feel like you're doing stuff. But like they have big partners, like they really lean in and help with Ronald McDonald House of San Diego and a lot of other charities. But it feeds into it. And when you go to his office space, it is so vibrant and uplifting. The people are there. It's not just about them providing that employee service online. A lot of the stuff they do is online, and they have international people that they help. But you can see it. It permeates in their character, the way that they present themselves. And it's got to be good for the brand. Because when the brand has happy employees, they become your ambassadors. So in our book, you can read it in our playbook, there are 4 I's that we like to hone in on. Those are involvement, integration, impact, and inspiration. Involvement, again, doesn't have to be the money piece. It could be, but it could be board service. If you don't know anything about board service, get with Cause San Diego. We will give you lots of education about it because there are some great opportunities. Tons of organizations, like I said, 13 to 14,000 nonprofits in the region, And if they're a 501c3 or any 501c type of organization, they have to have a board. Okay, boards make or break the success of nonprofits every day. Also, volunteering. Volunteering can be as simple as, for me, I volunteer at my church. I literally do 1 hour lesson planning every week. I go in there, I get to have joy with these 5th through 8th graders. And I'm in there for an hour and a half. I bring snacks, we have fun, we kind of learn about things, and I'm out of there, right? So there's easy ways for you to volunteer without feeling like it's just going to take over your life. For the integration, this is for the business side of it. It's just really figuring out a way that this can be a part of the DNA of your business versus it being an externality that just gets done on the side as a marketing function. And then for impact, definitely layering in and figuring out a way to measure what you're doing so that you can feel that the work that you're doing is making a difference, and you can feel good about the nonprofits you give to. Some of the companies that we've researched, we've done focus groups with, sometimes say that they don't give because when they work with nonprofits, the nonprofits don't show them clearly how the money was used, or they don't actually get to see it. So make sure that you're doing that, reciprocating if you're the nonprofit working with the business, because I think if we don't do that, we're going to hurt that reputation and that relationship, and then they just may not continue to kind of give in the way that they need to. And then for inspiration, make sure if you're a business that you're motivating and that you're recognizing those employees for the work that they are doing. Sammer, for instance, he gives paid time off for his employees to go and do volunteer work throughout the year. You might not think that's a big deal, but it does really help them. He also allows them to bring to the table causes they care about, so they can actually choose and pick which ones that they want to work with. And make sure the inspiration doesn't just go to employees, it goes to your vendors, it goes out to any partners that you have. Just share the love, inspiration. We need more of that these days. I talked about the playbook. We just had our cause conference, and I had this really inspiring kind of quote put down on a sticker that was given to us by a nonprofit called We See You San Diego. And so I have to give them credit because now I feel like we're just going to hone in on it. We are your hope dealer. Okay, we're not a drug dealer, we're a hope dealer. Okay, if you need hope, if you're just like, I don't know what to do, I'm a business, I'm a nonprofit, come to us, connect you with resources. This is all a part of what we give. It's not any funding that we ask for. It's all about trying to get the community to work together and be empowered by each other. So let's just imagine San Diego, where every business is also a force for good. And then where our beaches and our schools, neighborhoods, families, that little girl I told you about at the beginning, that they're all thriving together. That little girl, that she has someone at the school can help her to know what happens when her mom gets hurt at home, right? She has somebody to talk to when she needs to talk about something that made her sad, right? We all have a little bit to give, and if we do it together, I think that we can definitely move mountains with the major issues that we have in our region. So again, yes, San Diego, but the world, we all share it. And let's just do as much as we can to give back. So thank you very much.